I cheated on my husband with my ex, and when he found out, he took revenge on everyone. In retrospect, my childhood was an ode to normalcy. I grew up in a quiet suburb, the kind with leafy trees and bicycles forgotten in front yards. My days were filled with school, neighborhood friends, and family dinners. My parents were loving and stable, a pillar of sanity in my life. Everything was predictable and safe, and I, Sophia, never questioned that tranquility. I was a curious child, but always within the boundaries of the familiar. Adolescence, however, brought the first earthquake to my world of calm. I met him in high school. His name was Alex. He was, without a doubt, the most handsome boy in school, tall, with a rebellious mane, dark eyes, and a smile that could melt anyone. All the girls swooned over him, and to my surprise, he chose me. Our relationship began with the intensity of first love. I felt like the luckiest girl in the world. Alex was charismatic, funny, and made me feel alive in a way I had never experienced before. He pulled me out of my comfort zone, made me laugh, and sometimes scared me a little. But soon, that intensity turned into something darker. Alex was toxic and controlling. At first, I attributed it to his jealousy, his passion for me. "I just want to protect you, Sophia," he would say in that soft voice that enveloped me. "I don't want anyone to hurt you, so I prefer you to be only with me." And I, naive, believed him. Gradually, his control became suffocating. My outings with friends dwindled. My innocent conversations with other boys became grounds for interrogation. My decisions, from what clothes to wear to what courses to take, required his tacit approval. My friends, especially Carla, my childhood best friend, began to notice. "Sophia," Carla said one afternoon while we ate burgers at the university cafeteria. We were in college by then, and my relationship with Alex had survived the leap from high school. "You don't seem as happy as you used to be. Alex has you too tied down. Don't you feel suffocated?" I shrugged, trying to defend him. "No, Carla, he just cares about me. He loves me so much. It's his way of showing it." "That's not a healthy way to love, Sophia," Carla replied, her brow furrowed. "Love is freedom, not a cage. And those mood swings, one day he's affectionate, the next he ignores you or blames you for something. That's not normal." But I stayed trapped in that cycle of drama and reconciliation, jealousy and supposed apologies. There was a strange addiction to the adrenaline that relationship gave me. The satisfaction of calming his anger, of being the only person capable of soothing him, made me feel special, indispensable. It was an emotional roller coaster, exhausting but somehow addictive. I endured it for a long time, too long. We made it through high school and into college, always together, always in the orbit of his control. My parents, though worried, didn't know how to intervene. I downplayed the problems, hid the arguments, the tears, but the rope was stretched too tight. Halfway through my second year of college, during one of his jealous outbursts over something trivial, I couldn't take it anymore. The energy that relationship consumed was unsustainable. I needed a break, and escape. "I can't do this anymore, Alex," I shouted one day, my own tears of frustration streaming down my face. "I'm exhausted. Your jealousy, your control, it doesn't let me breathe. This is over." His face shifted from anger to disbelief, then to cold resentment. "Fine, do what you want," he said. "You'll see that no one will love you like I do. No one will put up with you like I do." His words hurt, but they also freed me. We broke up. It was a bitter end, full of recriminations and empty promises that he would change, but I stood firm, finally. The breakup was a relief, but it also left me in a strange limbo. I had spent so many years in that relationship that I didn't know how to be myself without it. Then, shortly after, I met Leo. Leo was the complete opposite of Alex. I met him through mutual friends at one of those casual gatherings I could now attend without feeling guilty. He was kind, with a genuine smile and warm eyes that radiated peace. He didn't have the bad boy look or the aura of danger that Alex had. He was simply a good man. From the start, Leo treated me with respect and sweetness that surprised me. He listened attentively to what I said, cared about my opinions, and made me feel valued. I fell in love with him, with his calm, his kindness, the peace he brought me. Yet, despite the joy I felt with Leo, Alex remained a shadow in my life. We still talked sporadically, sometimes a text, sometimes a call he initiated. And to my shame, I still felt something for him, a kind of nostalgia for the intensity, the drama, that feeling of always being on edge. I knew it was toxic, that it was a destructive relationship, but a part of me, the part accustomed to adrenaline, missed it. Still, I knew I couldn't go back. The wound was too deep. I decided to bet on what was good, on stability, on Leo. I told him about my relationship with Alex, the duration, the intensity, the toxicity. I admitted, somewhat ashamed, how dependent I had become on that dynamic. He listened patiently, without judgment. When I finished, he took my hands, his kind eyes fixed on mine. "Sophia," he said, his voice soft and steady, "don't worry. With me, it won't be like that. I won't control you. I won't make you feel less. I just want to love you and cherish you. With me, you'll be free. I'll trust you and support you in everything you do. I want you to be happy, Sophia, to be yourself." His words were a balm for my wounded soul. I felt immensely happy, relieved. I thought I had finally found the peace, the healthy relationship I had always sought. Our relationship continued with the normalcy I craved, but as the months passed, a strange feeling began to grow in me. A void, a silent dissatisfaction I couldn't name. Everything was perfect with Leo. He was affectionate, attentive, funny, an exceptional partner, but that feeling persisted. I confided in my friends, searching for an explanation. Carla, I said during one of our video calls while Leo was out, everything is great with Leo. He's amazing truly, but I feel like something's missing. I don't know what it is, it's like a void. Is that normal? Carla, always blunt, looked at me with understanding. Sophia, it's because Leo doesn't give you that same sense of danger, does he? That adrenaline you had with Alex, that intensity that made you feel alive, even if it consumed you. With Leo, everything is calm, stable. Sometimes stability can feel a bit flat for someone who's been through a hurricane. Another friend, Alina, who had a more adventurous personality, chimed in. Yeah, Sophia, Alex was like a bad drug for you, but he gave you a high. Leo is like good medicine. He heals you, stabilizes you, but he doesn't give you that euphoria. You got used to living on the edge and normalcy feels empty. Their words resonated. They were right. That lack of spark, that drama, that unpredictability left me with a strange sense of boredom. A part of me craved the thrill, even if it came with suffering. I felt guilty for feeling this way because Leo didn't deserve my dissatisfaction, so I kept it to myself, hoping it would fade with time. Years passed. Leo and I graduated from college and landed good jobs, me as a graphic designer at an advertising agency, him as a software engineer at a reputable tech company. We moved in together to a spacious apartment in a nice neighborhood with city views. To anyone looking in, our life was a dream. We had a stable relationship, professional success, a promising future, but the dissatisfaction lingered, a constant murmur in the back of my mind. I loved Leo, of that I had no doubt. He was my partner, my best friend, my refuge. But there was something about his serene nature that sometimes surprised me, almost unsettled me. He was incredibly calm, always measured, always kind, even in situations that would make most people explode. His patience was infinite, his kindness unshakable. One day at a casual dinner with some of Leo's friends, a conversation left me pensive. We were talking about college life and how everyone had changed. One of his friends, Sam, a loud and jovial guy, gave Leo a pat on the back. Honestly, Leo, Sam said, laughing, you're a different person now. Thanks to you, Sophia. You've calmed him down a lot. I looked at Leo, puzzled. He just smiled modestly. Calmed him down? I asked, curious. He's always been this calm. I don't think I've done anything to calm him. Sam looked at me, his smile turning a bit more serious. Oh, Sophia, you have no idea. Leo's always been a good guy, yeah, but he had a, let's say, very intense side. He had a strong temper when he was younger and was incredibly vengeful. My heart skipped a beat. What are you talking about, Sam? Leo, vengeful, anger issues. That can't be. Sam's face turned completely serious now. Yeah, Sophia, he doesn't like to talk about it, but it's true. He had a serious anger problem. He was meticulous when someone wronged him. That fight was awful. Afterward, there was a lawsuit. The other guy recovered, thankfully, but that experience changed his life. He reflected a lot and vowed to change. And he did. To your surprise, after the guy recovered, Leo even tried to apologize, and they sort of became friends, though they didn't stay in touch much. That event transformed him. I was stunned processing the information. The Leo I knew, the calm, patient software engineer, had a past so dark, so violent. The revelation left me speechless. It was a side of him I'd never imagined. That night when we got home, the conversation with Sam kept echoing in my mind. I watched Leo as he slept beside me, so peaceful, so serene. The story of his past shook me deeply. On one hand, it shocked me. On the other, I felt a new appreciation for him. The willpower it must have taken to transform such an explosive temper into the calm he now exuded was admirable. It made me see him with new eyes, with even greater respect. But the dissatisfaction, now tinged with a new layer of complexity, remained. That spark of danger, that intensity Alex had given me, I now found, paradoxically, in Leo's hidden past. It was a contradiction that tormented me. Years passed and life smiled upon us. We got married in an intimate ceremony, surrounded by loved ones. Our careers flourished, our finances were solid. We bought a beautiful house with a garden and room to grow. It was the dream life, the stability I had consciously chosen. But the void, that silent dissatisfaction, refused to disappear. It was like a discordant note in a perfect symphony. There was no drama, no chaos, and a part of me, the part that had grown accustomed to living on the edge, missed it. One day, while Leo was at the gym as usual, I was at home scrolling through social media. A notification caught my attention. It was a message from a profile I didn't recognize. The username was cryptic, but the profile picture, my heart skipped a beat. It was Alex, my toxic ex-boyfriend. He hadn't changed much, same rebellious hair, same roguish smile, though now with a 3-day beard that gave him a more mature look. My first instinct was to ignore it, to block him. But curiosity, that old familiar sense of danger, got the better of me. I opened the message. It was a simple, "Hi, Sophia. Remember me?" My heart pounded. Despite the years, Alex's magnetism was undeniable. I responded with a mix of caution and a strange excitement. "Hi, Alex. Yes, I remember you. How are you?" That's how it started, a conversation that stretched over several days. He told me about his life. He'd traveled the world on a motorcycle, lived adventures in exotic countries, met all kinds of people. He spoke of freedom, of not being tied down, of living life to the fullest. He sounded different, more mature, but he still had that bad boy essence, that freedom I'd always envied and now felt I lacked. I began to think maybe he had changed, that he was no longer the toxic, controlling man, but at the same time, I felt a strong temptation, a dangerous attraction to the life he represented. I respected Leo, I loved him, wanted to be with him, but the void was still there, and Alex seemed to fill it with the promise of an excitement my current life didn't offer. The conversations grew more frequent, the messages longer. He told me about his adventures, his challenges, his freedoms, and I, in my comfortable home with my predictable life, felt a longing for that spark, that unpredictability. One day the message came. "Sophia," Alex wrote, "I'm passing through the city. How about we grab a coffee? I'd love to catch up, just as friends, of course." My heart raced. I didn't respond right away. I needed time to process. The invitation to coffee sent me into a whirlwind of emotions. My mind was torn between loyalty to Leo and an irresistible curiosity for what Alex represented. It took days before I dared to discuss it with my friends. I gathered Carla and Alina at my apartment, the air thick with tension I had created. "Girls," I began, my voice barely a whisper. "Alex contacted me. He invited me for coffee." Carla and Alina exchanged glances, then looked at me with a mix of surprise and anticipation. "Alex," Carla exclaimed, her eyes widening. "The Alex, what are you going to do?" "I don't know," I admitted, feeling the blush rise to my cheeks. "I feel guilty just thinking about it. I have Leo, he's perfect." Alina leaned back on the couch, her gaze shrewd. "Sophia, listen, it's just coffee to see what he's been up to. It's not like you're going to marry him again." "Exactly," Carla added with an enthusiasm that unsettled me. "And who knows, maybe that spark you felt will come back, just to see if it's still there. My heart skipped a beat. "Are you suggesting I cheat on Leo?" "No, no, no," I said. "I'm married, I love him." Carla shrugged, downplaying it. "It's not a big deal, Sophia. Sometimes in long-term marriages like yours, you need to reignite the spark. A little fun, a bit of excitement, it's normal. Besides, who's to say Leo doesn't do the same from time to time? He's an attractive guy." I froze. "Leo, no way, he'd never do that. He's the most honorable person I know. He loves me, respects me, I know that." "Maybe, maybe not," Carla continued, her tone conspiratorial. "But what if he does? Honestly, Sophia, don't torture yourself. It's just coffee, a bit of fun. It doesn't mean you're going to abandon him. You deserve to enjoy life, something different." Their words, though they filled me with a strange mix of relief and anxiety, planted a seed in my mind. The idea that it was normal, that Leo might do the same, gave me a twisted justification for my desires. I spent the next few days mulling over their words, the dissatisfaction I felt, the promise of excitement Alex represented. Finally, I made a decision. I sent Alex a message. "Sure, Alex, coffee sounds good. When and where?" I didn't tell Leo. The guilt gnawed at me, but the thrill of the forbidden was stronger. I made up an excuse, something about a client meeting or an urgent design project that would keep me busy. Leo, as always, trusted me, gave me a kiss goodbye, and wished me luck. His trust made me feel even worse, but I had already crossed the line. We met at a discreet downtown cafe. Alex was there, waiting for me with the same carefree smile, the same laid-back air. Seeing him sent a familiar shiver down my spine, that mix of attraction and nervousness he always provoked. "Sophia," he said, standing to greet me, his eyes sparkling with a playful glint. "You look amazing. Time has been kind to you." "You too, Alex," I replied, my voice a bit shaky. "You look good, so adventuring around the world." The conversation flowed with surprising ease. We talked about everything and nothing. He told me about his travels, his extreme experiences, his philosophies about freedom and living unattached. I spoke about my professional life, my marriage, the stability I had found. He listened with an attention that in the past had often been a facade for his jealousy but now seemed genuine. "It's a shame you got married, Sophia," he said suddenly, his voice dropping a tone. "I always thought we had something special, something that made you feel alive. The road is my life, but I always missed you." I blushed, unsure how to respond to his boldness. I tried to steer the conversation away, treating it as a joke. "And you, what about your love life? With all those adventures, I bet you're never short on company." He smiled, an enigmatic grin. "No, honestly, I'm not. My relationships are fluid, but I never found anyone I felt the same way about as I did with you. I waited for you, Sophia. I regret changing too late for you." His confession took my breath away. He had waited for me, regretted changing too late. My mind, already clouded by nostalgia and adrenaline, began to fantasize about a parallel universe where Alex had changed for me, where our story could have had a different ending. The afternoon wore on and I had a dinner planned with Leo, supposedly after a long work meeting. I had told him not to worry about me, that I'd grab something light at home. But Alex, with his usual audacity, suggested, "How about we grab dinner? I know an amazing place nearby. Just dinner between old friends. What do you say? I'm sure your husband's busy with his meeting and you're free." The temptation was too strong to resist. The guilt faded, replaced by the thrill of the moment. "All right, Alex," I said with a smile I couldn't wipe off my face. "Just dinner." Dinner was just as pleasant, filled with laughter, travel anecdotes, and undeniable chemistry. We talked about dreams, regrets, the pursuit of happiness. Alex was charming and made me feel desired, special in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. It was late when we left the restaurant. The air was cool and the city lights glowed around us. We stopped by my car. The conversation faded and the silence filled with palpable tension. Alex looked into my eyes, his hand gently resting on my cheek. "Sophia," he whispered, his voice husky, "I still feel something for you. I always have." Before I could respond, he leaned in and kissed me, a deep, passionate kiss that pulled me back to the intensity of our youthful days. I kissed him back, my arms wrapping around his neck, the world around us vanishing. That spark, was back. The kiss lingered, and somehow we ended up in the back seat of my car. The remorse hit afterward like a cold slap in the face. In the middle of the act, reality crashed down on me. What the hell was I doing with Alex in my own car? "No, stop," I exclaimed, my voice muffled. I pushed him away, my breathing ragged, guilt overwhelming me with crushing force. "This is a mistake. I can't do this. I'm married." Alex looked at me with a mix of surprise and resignation. "Sophia, wait, what's wrong?" "I thought you felt the same." "No, I don't," I lied, my voice trembling. "This was a mistake. I have to go." I got out of the car, my heart racing, panic settling in my chest. I quickly adjusted my clothes, trying to hide the evidence of my betrayal. "I'm sorry, Alex," I mumbled, my voice barely audible. "This shouldn't have happened. Don't contact me again." He said nothing, just watched as I climbed into the driver's seat, started the engine, and sped away, leaving the parking lot, Alex, and that night behind. I drove home in a state of shock, the regret eating me alive. Every red light was torture, every thought a stab of guilt. How could I do this to Leo, to the man who loved me unconditionally, who had erased my traumas, who had given me the stability I had chosen? I got home and the smell of food hit me. Leo had made dinner as he'd promised. Not only that, but on the table was a small wrapped package with a bow. A note in his neat handwriting read, "For my Sophia, I thought you'd like it. I love you." My eyes filled with tears. I opened the package. It was the design book I'd been wanting, a special edition I knew was expensive. His kindness, his generosity, his unconditional love hit me like a tsunami. I felt like the most despicable person in the world. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavy with guilt. Leo was asleep in bed, his face serene, oblivious to my betrayal. I leaned down and kissed his forehead, the taste of my sin on my lips. I got into the shower, trying to wash away the guilt, the smell of Alex, the evidence of my infidelity. It was no use. The water mingled with my silent tears. I lay down beside Leo, the chasm between us deeper than ever. I felt his warmth, his steady breathing, and wished only that I could turn back time, erase that night, be the woman he thought I was. The next morning I met Carla and Alina for coffee as usual. I was pale, my eyes swollen from sleeplessness and crying. "So," Alina asked with a sly smile, "how was the date?" I told them everything, the coffee, the dinner, Alex's words, the kiss, the encounter in the car. I braced myself for a lecture, for them to tell me I made an unforgivable mistake, but their reactions shocked me. "Wow, Sophia," Carla exclaimed, her eyes gleaming. "That's amazing. I told you, the spark. Amazing." I repeated, a lump in my throat. "Carla, I cheated on Leo. I feel horrible. I need you to tell me I did something terrible." Alina laughed, brushing it off. "Sophia, relax. This is more common than you think. Don't beat yourself up. Sometimes life gives you these chances to feel alive. It doesn't mean you don't love Leo. It means you're human and need excitement. Alex is just a fling, something temporary. He won't stick around long, right?" Their validation, though perverse, offered me a strange comfort. I convinced myself they were right, that it was normal, that Alex was just a momentary escape. I felt a little less guilty, a little bolder. As we talked, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Alex inviting me to a hiking trip in the mountains the next weekend. "Look," I said, showing them the message. "Alex invited me hiking." "Do it," Alina exclaimed. "Have fun. It's not a date, it's an outdoor activity." "Yeah," Carla added. "And you don't have to tell Leo. Say you're going with us or a group of friends from the agency. He won't suspect a thing." The idea of lying to Leo again turned my stomach, but the temptation, that new and dangerous freedom, pulled me with undeniable force. So once again I lied to my husband. "Honey," I said to Leo that night, trying to sound casual, "the girls and I are going hiking this weekend. A girls' getaway. I need to unwind." He smiled, his face full of kindness. "Sure, love, have fun, stay safe, I'll miss you." His trusting words stabbed me again, but it was too late to back out. I went on the hike with Alex. The mountain was beautiful, the view spectacular. He was the same funny, charismatic, full of energy. We laughed, talked about nonsense, and for a moment I forgot my perfect life with Leo. I remembered that void I'd felt for years, and with Alex it vanished. I felt I'd reclaimed the spark, the thrill I'd missed so much. And of course it happened again. At the mountain's peak, under the blue sky, we kissed again, this time without initial regret. The adrenaline of the forbidden enveloped me, and I felt alive, vibrant. I gave in to the passion, letting the thrill consume me. The following weeks became a dangerous pattern. I kept seeing Alex, always under the guise of activities with friends or work trips. I told Carla and Alina every detail, and they cheered me on, congratulated me for living life, assuring me I wasn't hurting anyone. The initial guilt had faded, replaced by a dangerous sense of self-justification. I began neglecting Leo, though I didn't realize it at the time. My mind was consumed by the excitement of my encounters with Alex. My conversations with Leo grew superficial, my attention to him diminished. Sometimes I came home late after meeting Alex, spinning increasingly elaborate excuses. Twice I didn't even come home, claiming last-minute work trips. Leo, with his infinite patience and trust, never suspected, or so I thought. My life had become a double life, a precarious balance between the stability Leo gave me and the excitement Alex offered. I believed I could handle it, that I was smart, that no one would find out. I was wrong, completely wrong. My double life continued for weeks, a delicate balancing act that made me feel both exhilarated and, deep down, profoundly guilty. The adrenaline from my encounters with Alex, my friend's validation, and Leo's apparent blindness dulled my conscience. I thought I was invincible, in control, able to have the best of both worlds, Leo's stability and unconditional love, and Alex's thrill and spark. My life at home with Leo became a superficial routine. Our conversations were brief, my attention minimal. I always had an excuse for my absences, for coming home late. He, with his endless patience, always accepted them. "You look tired, honey," he'd say sometimes in his soft voice. "Make sure to rest. The agency work is exhausting, I get it." His trust was a dagger in my heart, but I ignored it, diving deeper into the spiral of my infidelity. Carla and Alina remained my confidants and cheerleaders in this dangerous journey. Each time I shared a new adventure with Alex, their eyes sparkled with excitement. "You're living life, Sophia," Alina would say enthusiastically. "Don't worry, Leo's such a good guy, he won't even notice. Besides, it's just a bit of fun amidst all the monotony." "Exactly," Carla would add with a wink. "And Alex won't stick around long. Just enjoy the moment. You're young, you're beautiful, you deserve it." Their words, filled with twisted logic, reinforced my self-deception. I thought I wasn't hurting anyone, that I was just exploring a part of myself that had been dormant. The bubble I lived in burst on a Tuesday afternoon, the most ordinary of days. I had spent the afternoon with Alex on one of his impromptu beach getaways. The thrill of the wind in my hair, the easy laughter, the stolen kisses. Life felt exciting, vibrant, far from the predictable calm of my home. I returned home, the initial guilt long gone, replaced by a sense of complacency. I opened the door, expecting to find Leo on the couch, reading a book or watching the news, ready for my usual excuse. But the house was silent, too silent. No dinner was prepared, no table was set. Something was wrong. I searched the apartment, the living room, the study, the bedroom. Empty. My heart began to pound. Where was Leo? Then I saw it. On the living room table, right in the center, was a note and a photograph beside it. My hands trembled as I picked up the note. Leo's handwriting, always neat, now seemed cold, distant. Just 2 words, "I know." A chill ran through me from head to toe, the air caught in my lungs. "What does he know?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. My gaze shifted to the photograph. It was Alex and me kissing at the mountain's peak. A clear photo, taken from a distance but unmistakable. Our faces, my arms around his neck, the irrefutable evidence of my betrayal. The shock was paralyzing. My legs buckled and I collapsed to the floor, the note and photo in my trembling hands. Regret, the real, brutal kind, hit me like a bolt of lightning. Not a pang of guilt, but a crushing weight. He knew. Leo knew. I tried calling him once, twice, 10 times. His phone didn't answer. I sent desperate texts. "Leo, please, talk to me. I can explain. Please forgive me." No response. The night turned into a torture of tears and remorse, my mind replaying every lie, every excuse, every moment of my betrayal. The next morning, I dragged myself to work, my eyes swollen, my mind clouded. My colleagues asked if I was okay, but I could barely mumble an excuse. As soon as I could, I called Carla and Alina. "Girls," I said, my voice broken by sobs, "Leo knows. He knows everything. He found a photo." There was silence on the other end. Then Carla, her voice a bit higher than usual, tried to calm me. "Sophia, calm down, breathe. He's Leo. He's a good guy. He won't do anything. He's probably just angry, but it'll pass. It's just a tantrum." Alina nodded, her voice full of false confidence. "Yeah, Sophia, it's Leo. What's he going to do? He loves you. He'll forgive you. Just give him time. He'll come back." Their words calmed me slightly, but a sense of danger gripped me. I remembered the conversation with Sam, Leo's friend, years ago. The story of his past, his suppressed anger, his meticulous vengeance before he changed. He'd nearly killed a guy, Sam had said. Leo was deeply vengeful at his core. That story, which once seemed so distant, now resonated with terrifying clarity. I tried to reassure myself. No, this was Leo, my Leo, the good man who loved me, who would never hurt me. He was surely just hurt and needed space. He'd come back. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed again. It was Alex. Several missed calls. I finally answered. "What do you want, Alex?" I said, my voice dry. "Sophia, what's going on? Why aren't you answering? Let's meet." "No, Alex," I cut him off. "It's over. Leo knows. My husband knows everything." There was silence on the other end. Then Alex's voice, tinged with a disdain I hadn't heard before, emerged. "Oh, and what? Some weak, sanctimonious guy. What's he going to do? Don't worry, he's not like me." His arrogance churned my stomach. "No, it's over. Don't contact me again." I hung up. That night, Leo came home. When he walked through the door, he wasn't the Leo I knew. His presence filled the room with an aura that chilled my blood. His eyes, usually warm and kind, were cold, distant, almost black. His posture was rigid, his jaw tense. He exuded an intimidating presence I had never seen before. I tried to run to him, my arms outstretched. "Leo, my love, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I was stupid, an idiot. I don't know what I was thinking." He raised a hand, stopping me in my tracks. He didn't touch me, just looked at me. His voice, when he spoke, was calm but carried an icy fury I had never heard before. "Stop right there, Sophia," he said, his tone unusually harsh. "Don't come near me, don't touch me." My arms dropped to my sides. I stood frozen, paralyzed by fear. "What's happening, Leo?" I whispered, my eyes brimming with tears. "Why are you like this?" A humorless laugh escaped his lips. "Like this, Sophia. This is who I am when someone tries to make a fool of me. How could you be so brazen? Did you think I was an idiot, that I wouldn't notice, that I was so good I'd forgive anything?" My throat closed up. He knew me better than I knew myself. He knew exactly where to strike. "I know absolutely everything, Sophia," he continued, his voice maintaining that terrifying calm. "I've known for weeks. Since the first time you slept with him in your own car. I wanted to confirm it, and I did." My eyes widened. "Since the first time, how?" Leo pulled an envelope from his briefcase. "Divorce papers." "I brought these," he said, placing them on the coffee table. "Sign them." Tears welled up again, hot and bitter. "No, Leo, no, please don't divorce me. We can fix this. I'm your wife. We're a couple. We're made for each other. I love you. I swear it won't happen again." He looked at me with an expression that was a mix of contempt and absolute coldness. "No, Sophia, we're not made for each other. That was a fantasy you created. I believed in you. I thought you were different, but I was wrong." His voice grew darker, more threatening. "Look, you have two options. You can sign these papers and avoid a trial where, I assure you, I'll take everything from you, every cent, every material possession. You'll be left with nothing. Or you can sign now and I'll give you a fair settlement, the legal minimum. But I want you to sign, and I want you to do it soon because I don't want to see your face anymore." The threat was real. He wasn't joking. I felt visceral fear. This wasn't the Leo I knew, the gentle, kind man. This was the Leo Sam had warned me about, the Leo with a dark past, with a capacity for vengeance I had underestimated. "But how?" I stammered, my voice trembling. "How did you know all this?" He smiled, a cold, humorless smile. "I was careful, Sophia. I watched you. I remembered what it felt like when someone wronged me, when someone made a fool of me. Then the unthinkable." He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping to a whisper that chilled my bones. "And not only that, I investigated your adventurer. You really thought Alex was a free-spirited man traveling the world on a motorcycle for the love of adventure. How naive you are." My eyes widened. "Alex, what did he know about Alex?" "Your Alex," Leo continued with biting irony, "is no romantic adventurer. He's a criminal with a record in several countries, a con artist who preys on women. And not only that, Sophia, he's a man with multiple children scattered around, several with unpaid child support claims." "No, that's not true," I shouted, refusing to believe him. "You're lying. Alex isn't like that. He told me he waited for me, that I was the love of his life." Leo let out a sarcastic laugh. "How foolish you are, Sophia. You swallowed all his lies, but I have the proof: criminal records, child support claims, everything." He pulled out his phone and showed me a series of documents on the screen, records from different countries, names of different women, names of children. The evidence was overwhelming. My lover, the man who had promised me excitement and freedom, was a criminal, a con artist, an irresponsible father. I was breathless. My world was crumbling. Everything was a lie. The spark, the excitement, the adventure. It was all a sham. "And that's not all, Sophia," Leo continued, his voice leaving no room for doubt. "You're naive, yes, but that's normal with the kind of friends you have, the ones who told you infidelity is normal, that it doesn't hurt anyone." My heart stopped. "My friends. I also informed the husbands of your dear friends about the conversations you were having. Those husbands want to know and verify for themselves if their wives' infidelity is also normal. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll find out soon enough." I went into shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My Leo had planned all this, not just my life, but my friends' lives too. He had been meticulous, ruthless. The calm, kind man I knew had transformed into a vengeful strategist. He was a completely different person, one who terrified me. No, how could you do this? I screamed, my eyes filled with terror. How could you ruin me like this? And my friends, this is inhumane. Leo looked at me with absolute coldness. You ruined me first, Sophia. You tried to make a fool of me, and I remembered what that feels like. I remembered who I was when someone hurt me, and I don't want to see your face anymore. Sign the papers, now. My world had collapsed entirely. My eyes fell on the divorce papers on the table. There was no escape. He wasn't the Leo I thought I knew. He was something far darker, far more calculated, and I, through my stupidity, had unleashed the monster. The revelation of Leo's true nature, his meticulous vengeance, the calculated destruction of my life and those around me, left me breathless. He wasn't the kind, patient, noble man I thought I knew. He was a ruthless strategist, capable of a coldness that chilled the blood. His threat to take everything if I didn't sign the divorce papers wasn't a bluff. I felt it in every fiber of my being. With a trembling hand, I took the divorce papers, my eyes, dry from so much crying, fixed on the page. The word dissolution mocked me. He stood up, his posture still rigid, his gaze unyielding. Signed, Sophia, he said, his voice calm, almost a whisper, but with an authority that brooked no argument. It's the best thing for you. You don't want to go to trial with me. You'd be left with nothing. I couldn't respond. My throat was dry. Fear gripped me. How could the man I loved, with whom I had built a perfect life, transform into this? The irony was so cruel I almost laughed. I had sought excitement, the spark, in Alex, a man who turned out to be a fraud, while the true spark, that of a dangerous and calculating mind, was in my own husband. As my eyes filled with fresh tears, he continued, as if he hadn't finished his monologue. I thought you understood, Sophia, but it seems you didn't. You thought I was a weak man, a fool, that you could play with me without consequences. He paused, his gaze piercing mine, making my body tremble. I also notified your workplace about the activities you've been engaging in. I doubt your boss, who, by the way, had a similar experience with his ex-wife, will want to keep you on. Company values are important, aren't they, Sophia? The blow was devastating. My job, my career, the last pillar I had left. I felt the air leave my lungs. No, how could you do this, Leo? I exclaimed, my voice a desperate plea. You're going to destroy me. Please no, he shrugged, his expression one of total indifference. You showed me the way, Sophia. You triggered something I thought was buried. When someone tries to make a fool of me, I remember who I am, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like being hurt, so now it's your turn to feel it. Sign the papers. I don't want to see you anymore. He turned and left the room, leaving me there, kneeling, with the divorce papers in my trembling hands and my life in ruins. I tried calling my friends, Carla and Alina. I needed their comfort, for them to tell me everything would be okay, to support me. Some didn't answer. Those who did attacked me. Sophia, what the hell did you do? Carla screamed over the phone, her voice full of fury. My husband knows. We had a horrible fight. He told me if I don't cut all contact with you and Alina, he'll divorce me. And it's all your fault, for your stupid actions, for cheating and telling us everything. Alina, in another call, was just as furious, if not more. Are you insane, Sophia? My marriage is on the brink because of you. My husband said he wants a divorce. He accused me of being a bad influence for listening to your nonsense. Don't ever come near me again. I was stunned. My own friends, who had encouraged me, who had told me it was normal, now blamed me for the consequences of my actions. I was alone, completely alone. Then, in a last-ditch effort, I called Alex several times. He finally answered, his voice agitated, full of panic. Sophia, what do you want? Why did you drag me into this? He exclaimed without even a greeting. What are you talking about, Alex? I asked, confused, though I could already sense the worst. Your stupid husband, he spat. He reported me. The police are after me. Child support claims, debts, crimes. He ruined my life. Everything he told you is true. I'm about to be arrested, and it's all your fault for getting involved with me. The tone in his voice wasn't concern, but pure resentment. The image of the free-spirited adventurer crumbled completely. The reality was a criminal, a con artist, a coward. How dare you? I shouted, fury erupting in my chest, a rage I had never felt before. You lied to me. You told me you waited for me, that you had no one else. And you're a criminal with kids scattered around the world. You used me. Used you, he scoffed with a bitter laugh. You used yourself, Sophia. You were so naive, so foolish. Did you really think I'd risk my freedom for you? You were just another bored woman who cheated on her husband with a few drinks and cheap talk. Don't expect anything from me. You ruined my life. And he hung up. I spiraled into depression and despair. The next day, my boss called me into his office. He looked at me with disappointment, not anger. Sophia, he said, his voice calm. I'm sorry to say this, but I have to let you go. With severance, of course, you're talented, but this company's values are non-negotiable. I can't allow this kind of behavior to affect other employees. I can't have someone on my team who shows such a lack of integrity. I'm sorry. I left the agency with my box of belongings, my soul shattered. My career, for which I had worked so hard, was gone in an instant. My friends had distanced themselves from me, some because of the damage to their own marriages, others out of shame or fear that their complicity would be exposed. I was alone in my house, once a happy home, now a prison. I consulted a lawyer friend from college, Mark. He listened patiently as I told him the whole story, my voice broken by sobs. Sophia, Mark said, his expression serious, with the evidence Leo has, you'd likely lose in court. And not only that, he'd take most, if not all, of your assets. Your best option is to sign the divorce papers he offered. It's a bad deal, but it's better than being left with nothing. The reality hit me like a hammer. There was no escape, no justice for me. Everything I had built, everything I had sacrificed for had vanished because of a series of bad decisions, because of a void I had tried to fill with something toxic and deceptive. With a broken heart, I texted Leo. I'll sign the papers, but I ask for one last conversation. Just one, face-to-face. To my surprise, he agreed. We met at a neutral cafe, a public place where drama had no room. He arrived on time, his presence still imposing but his face more relaxed than the last time. The fury had subsided, replaced by an unsettling calm. I sat across from him, my hands trembling. He looked at me, his eyes not kind but no longer filled with the contempt from before. "What do you want, Sophia?" he asked, his voice monotonous. I knelt down, heedless of the people around us, tears streaming again. "Leo, please, I beg you, forgive me. I was a fool. I was naive. I let myself be manipulated. I don't know what happened to me, but I swear you're the true love of my life. I'm sorry for making you relive your past, for causing you so much pain. We can have a baby. We can start over. Don't throw away everything we built." He looked at me with an expression that was a mix of sadness and resignation. There was no anger in his eyes, only deep disappointment. "Sophia," he said, his voice soft but laden with painful truth, "there's no going back. And no, we can't have a baby. Not with you." I sat back in the chair, my heart gripped by agony. "There's something I never told you," Leo began, his voice low, almost inaudible, as if confessing a long-held secret. "The story Sam told you, it's true, but he didn't tell you the whole story. I didn't tell you because I wanted to leave it behind. I wanted to be a different person for you, for us." He looked into my eyes, and for a moment I saw a flicker of pain in his. "My childhood was very different from yours, Sophia. My parents weren't like yours. My father was an abusive man, not always physically, but verbally and emotionally. He constantly humiliated me, belittled me, made me feel worthless. My mother always allowed it, never defended me. My home was a toxic environment." I nodded, listening intently. He had never spoken about his family, only saying they were complicated. "That's why you never met them," he continued. "Not because they were dead, but because I cut all contact with them. That abuse turned me into a person full of suppressed anger, resentment. I didn't let anyone get the better of me. Every time someone tried to mess with me or make me feel vulnerable, I exploded. I was vengeful, yes, meticulous in how I paid back the harm." My eyes widened. The story Sam had hinted at was far darker than I'd imagined. "And that time in college," he said, his voice tensing slightly, "that fight, I went too far. I hurt that guy badly, nearly killed him, as Sam said. That experience changed my life, made me see the monster I was becoming. I realized that to function in society, to have a normal life, I had to change, to be kind, to control my temper. And I did." He paused, taking a sip of his coffee, his gaze fixed on the cup. "For years, Sophia, I worked hard to be the person you met, docile, kind, patient. I thought if I showed the world my best self, my life would be good. I believed that dark side was buried deep, but then you came along." He looked at me, his voice turning cold again. "Your infidelity, your lies, your absences, your indifference. Every time you came home late, every time you lied, every time you mocked my trust, it was like you were digging into that old wound. You made me remember what it felt like to be betrayed, to be made a fool, to be mistreated. And that anger, that suppressed rage from my childhood, exploded." Tears streamed down my face again. "Leo, I'm so sorry," I said. "I was so stupid. I didn't mean to make you relive that trauma. I didn't mean to trigger it." "But you did, Sophia," he interrupted, his voice unwavering. "And now I see you the way I saw my father, someone who makes a fool of me, who mistreats me with indifference, who betrays me. And I can't be with someone like that. I can't, because if I do, I'll become the man I was, and I don't want that for myself or anyone else." He stood from the table, his face utterly calm. "So, Sophia," he said, his voice final, "please sign the papers. I'm grateful for the time we shared, but this is the last time we'll see each other. It's better for both of us." I tried one last plea, my words choked by tears. "Leo, please, a baby, for the love we had." "No." He looked at me for a moment, his eyes devoid of emotion. Then he nodded, a gesture of farewell. With a broken heart, my trembling hand took the pen and signed the papers. I wrote my name on the line, feeling my life slip away with each stroke. He took the papers, gave a curt nod, and left. I watched him walk away, his figure receding, and knew it was the end of my marriage, the end of my dream life. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of changes. We sold the house that was once our home, and I moved into a small apartment. I found a new job, but it was a lesser position with much lower pay. Every day was a constant reminder of what I had lost. News of Alex reached me through unexpected sources. He had been arrested, imprisoned, facing multiple charges for the child support claims and crimes Leo had uncovered. My free-spirited adventurer ended up in a cell, paying for his life of deceit. Carla and Alina remained furious with me, refusing to speak to me. Their marriages had fractured, some even ended in divorce, or they were forced to cut ties with other friends for being a bad influence. Loneliness was my only companion. Every day I thought of Leo, the man he had been and the man he became because of me. I had destroyed a relationship that was, at its core, good, solid, full of love. And now I lived a sad, solitary life, carrying the weight of my mistakes on my shoulders. I had sought excitement, the spark, and in the process, I had burned my own life to the ground.